Hello, my name is Liz with Big Hairy Dog, and I'm going to be showing you QuickBooks Point of Sale today. We are going to start here in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and see if we can hang tight to grab a few more attendees. And again, my name is Liz with Big Hairy Dog. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We're going to start in just a moment. All right, then, so we're going to go ahead and get started for today. Again, my name is Liz. I'm a trainer here at Big Hairy Dog. I'm one of our QuickBooks trainers. So I'm going to go ahead and take you through QuickBooks and what it has to offer. Specifically, we're going to be taking a look at QuickBooks version 19. It is the latest and greatest from QuickBooks and comes with a lot of added benefits, especially with e-commerce integration and some really nifty save an email directly from point of sale. So we can actually directly email our customers those receipts and help, save the planet a little bit. So today we're going to go ahead and get started by just kind of introducing our home screen here. So this is a QuickBooks home screen, and as you can see, it kind of follows a little bit of a workflow, and we're going to go through that today. I wanted to kind of start off with doing a little bit of history as for QuickBooks and Big Hairy Dog. Big Hairy Dog has actually been supporting QuickBooks since it first came out. We've been a supporter of QuickBooks for about 20 years, and we've been in business for over 27 years. So we're right there with you. We understand the needs of the retailer establishment, and we understand how they're growing and how things are changing. It's kind of one of the reasons why we were excited to show version 19 with how everything's going today and how everything's moving more towards our online sales. That e-commerce integration is really going to be the key in putting you over, the top of your competition. And so in addition to that, we are U.S. based. So, if you go ahead and give us a call anytime during our business hours, that is going to be from 6 a.m. Standard Time, 6 p.m. Standard Time, you're always going to go and get a live person. And so that is a guarantee that we make. You give us a call, and you're going to get one of our lovely receptionists, and they're going to make sure that your call is handled quickly and as efficiently as possible. In addition to always getting a live person, we're going to go ahead and make sure that when you get set up, you're going to be assigned your own personal trainer. Maybe myself or another one of our trainers here, and we're going to go through all parts of QuickBooks. We're going to help you from the setup up until your go live date and much more after that. We're going to be able to really understand your system and understand what you need it to do and help you go ahead and work through any problems that might arise. We say any problems, but really QuickBooks is a really robust yet easy to use software. A little tips and tricks that we might show you along the way to get you going, but once we get started, people really catch on to it, especially those who have been in business for some time. You already understand retail, and most importantly, you understand your inventory. One of the biggest advantages to jumping into a point of sale software is that inventory management. For our retailers, the biggest investment you make is in that inventory. So it is important to go ahead and stay on top of trends, to better understand the needs of your customers, and of course, be able to make that profit. And so QuickBooks does a great job of giving you the reports that you need, the customer management that you need, the inventory control that you need, as well as, some added features, some just kind of cool stuff that we're going to walk through today. All right, so we're going to start with our departments, our vendors, and just going into a little bit of our inventory. That's really the basis of QuickBooks here, and that's what's going to go ahead and, we start that off right, and then it starts everything off just on a positive tone. So I'm going to go and jump into my department list here. And so you can see I have quite a few departments already set up, but I want to show you how easy it is to go ahead and create a new department. I'm just going to go ahead and hit add. And so really all that is required is a department name. The department code is optional, but we would recommend it. It just helps things be a little bit more organized, and some of the reports default to department code, and it kind of keeps you from having to just rearrange all of the reports. Although rearranging, as you'll see in a moment, is really quick, really easy, and you can memorize those reports so you don't have to make the same change twice. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of create a fake department here. As we're going to go through this, you're going to see I'm not very creative, so I'll be doing things like this. All right, you see I have a 3-digit department code, and this can be alpha or numeric. or a mix of both if that's how you want to go ahead and structure your inventory. The department itself, the name, it is a single layer of structure, but there are some ways that we can go ahead and work to get around this. And that would be things like adding this colon. You can actually see that over here if I actually just take a moment and cancel out. I'm going to discard this. It's so easy. We can make another one in just a moment. You see I have my casual wear, and then boys, girls, men's, plus size. And so this gives me another little layer that I can go ahead and work with. But one more time, we're going to go ahead and hit that add. And so here I can go ahead and add a default tax code. So this default tax code would mean any items that I assign to this department would automatically come up as tax. Maybe it comes up as alcohol or non. But of course, I have the leeway of changing the tax code on individual items as well. This is essentially the more setup we do in the beginning, the easier it is for us down the line. In addition to that, we can also go ahead and define desired markup or margin percent. So let's say for this particular department, I want a margin of at least 65%. So I can actually click on down here, and you see that'll go ahead and calculate what my markup is as well. And again, so when I go ahead and assign an item to this particular department, if I enter my cost, QuickBooks will calculate what it wants, or what it will assume we want our price to be based on the margin for that department. And of course, we have the ability to overwrite that and make that price maybe just a little bit nicer. If it comes up as $12.85, maybe we just round it to that $12.99 and make it a nice, attractive number. So I can go ahead and save this. And there we go, it's been added to my department list. From here, I wanted to go ahead and show you, I want to point out the I want to button. You'll notice this all over QuickBooks, but this I want to button gives you a few extra options that might not be readily available on our screen. So if I hit that I want to, you can add, edit, copy, and one of my favorites, export to Excel. And that's just not in departments. You can export our customers, our vendors, our inventory. QuickBooks is a system that really allows you to take control of your own data. You can also go ahead and run department-specific reports from this module. As you can see, we actually have reports up here as well. We're going to have a whole section where I talk a little bit more about reports. But wherever you're at in QuickBooks, if you want to grab a quick report to understand what's going on with your system a little bit more, it's there for you. While we're kind of talking about customizing and what QuickBooks is ready to just show you out of the box, I wanted to kind of point out we have a customize button over here. And so anywhere where you see these blue buttons, we can actually right click if you don't want to come all the way down here. You hit customize, and we can go ahead and see what other available tasks can we go ahead and put onto the screen. Or maybe we want to remove some tasks. So if we have more than one person working on my department list, maybe they don't have permission to delete them, but they can create them. So we'll remove delete from our screen, and I can move it on when I need it, or utilize my I want to button. I'm going to go ahead and close that for now, and I can go ahead and close this. From here, I want to go ahead and take a moment and jump back to my home screen. While I'm going and jumping back to my home screen, I wanted to point out my Windows feature. So this is a really cool feature that QuickBooks has. You can actually have multiple windows open. So that way you can be working on receiving, purchasing. You can always jump to make a sale extremely quickly. So we can go ahead and take care of our customers first. You can see we were just in our department list, so I can go ahead and jump back in there. Earlier today, I was in my item list, so I can always jump back in there and take a look at my item. Utilize my home button to get us back. First, I'm going to jump into vendors. All right, so vendors, again, extremely easy to put on, to add. So we're going to go ahead and add one here. And one thing I really enjoy about QuickBooks is that if you start typing your company, you see it starts to display a few options for you. And so they do try to go ahead and make them the places that are kind of closer to you, but ultimately the more you type in, the more it can filter through its directory. Maybe we can go ahead and select them from the list. And if it has the address already, that will go ahead and populate for you. So it saves you a little bit of data entry time as well. And in addition to that, we can go ahead and add our account numbers. Over here under custom fields, this is another great part of QuickBooks. Although QuickBooks might not be as customizable as like a like Retail Pro, another software that we offer here, it does give you a lot of leeway, and it gives you opportunities to go and have more data that we don't necessarily natively track. And we do that using these custom fields. We can set them up in your system preferences, and then once we rename them there, they will be renamed all over QuickBooks. And so now we have our referral. So that's not a native field that QuickBooks tracks, but this gives us that ability to do so. And of course, you can go ahead and enter terms. And one of my favorite things as well is once you start receiving, once you start using this vendor, you're going to have your history. So all of your history for your vendors in one place, and you can go ahead and run reports on that history of your vendor and really, make sure that you're on top of everything, and they are too. The other thing I want to point out is just like we have department codes, we have our vendor codes. Also not required, but recommended for sure. And of course, again, it would help in reporting to be able to go and see those vendor codes, both alpha and numeric. We always just suggest making it something that makes sense to you. So I'm going to go ahead and actually just cancel out of this one. Guard our changes, yes. And again, we have our options to copy, delete, and of course, those beautiful reports. We can always go ahead and even come over here and write a letter to our vendors. We can email them their POs. We can also import their items directly from their catalog. Again, QuickBooks is going to really let you hang on to the control of your data. All right, then if I come down over here, maybe to our show details, I just wanted to show you one that maybe is already complete. And you can see we have the history of all those purchase and receiving orders. All right, I'm going to go and close out of here. We're going to jump back to our home screen. All right, so now that we have our vendors and our departments set up, then it's time to start looking at our inventory. And as we go, if you decide to go ahead and join with us as you go through training, your trainer, me, or one of the other trainers here, we're going to go ahead and make sure that you feel really comfortable with QuickBooks, really ready to take control and ready to show others, which is the biggest key. We want to train at least one person who is going to know the system essentially inside and out. Of course, we're going to be here for you always, but then you're going to be able to feel confident enough to go train your staff and know that they know what they're doing as well. All right, so here from our inventory screen, we can see one thing that I didn't point out in our departments and our vendors, but you can absolutely do. All of these columns up here, you can move them around, make this screen really fit for you and how you need your inventory displayed. If you don't see what you're looking for directly on the screen, we can right click and we can customize these columns. Anything with a green check mark is going to already be displayed. Anything else, we can go ahead and add that green check mark to it. And maybe I want to add my margin. I love looking at margins. And there we go. And now they're added to our screen and we can scroll through them. Of course, filtering is a big part of QuickBooks as well. We can go ahead and decide whether we're looking at all items. Out of the box, QuickBooks actually gives you some pre-built filters. So we can see items that are just out of stock or items that have hit the reorder point. And you actually decide what that reorder point is. To kind of understand that a little bit more, I'm going to go ahead and pause our filter and just take a moment to show you one of our items here. I'm going to go show details. You can see, so it pops up a little side menu here, and so we do have over here a reorder point. So for this specific item, if I took a look and maybe it had a much higher rating, it was a very popular item that we offer here, so I want to make sure that my inventory does not go below 5 pieces. So my reorder point is going to be those 5 pieces, and then I can go ahead and utilize that filter and only filter to my items to reorder. And look at that, I actually have a few that I need to make sure I reorder. Something that's quick and easy and really, really helpful for your buyers especially. You can see we also have mobile items. So another really cool feature that QuickBooks has, it gives you the option to go ahead and utilize their Go Payments app. So if you're integrated with the merchant services, it's all pretty seamless. You still have that option if you're not integrated with merchant services. So there's just a little bit more to it. And we be happy to talk you through that. But ultimately, you can decide what inventory is sent to your mobile Go Payments app, and you can go ahead and treat it like a little mobile POS. And we can ring up sales through the cellular device, iPad, anywhere that we can go ahead and get that QuickBooks Go payment app installed. Besides that, you can also create your own filter and manage those filters. I'm just going to hit create filters so we can take a look at it. Here you can see we can have all the control that you would ever want. We can filter by item number, department, item name, description. And one thing that I really like is that QuickBooks gives us, actually, let me pop into description for a moment. This right here, we call that our and or logic. So I can go ahead and put it, I'm looking for this item or this item, and it's going to show me both. Or I can say I'm looking for an item that has this in description and this in the description. And of course, that's going to be much more limited. But if we're really looking for that specific item and we're not quite sure how else to do it, this is the perfect answer. Go ahead and cancel out of here. And of course, we can filter for items, but we can also filter to exclude items. So let's say we were trying to go ahead and take a look at a specific, or if you wanted to go ahead and exclude a specific department. Maybe we want to see how our sales are doing, but I want to exclude this department where I have all my services, like my gift wrapping or my shipping services. So I can go ahead and exclude that particular department. And this one is a pick from a list, so you can see we do have some options. If you don't remember your department code right off the bat, we can just pick from that list. And then we can go ahead and apply. And unfortunately, it looks like the random departments I chose kind of canceled each other out. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this one. So actually, we jump back to our all items. And then another thing about our filtering is, let's say that you find yourself filtering for the same criteria. Instead of having to put it in one by one every time, we can always save those, and then they're going to be in our managed filters. And then you can just toggle back and forth between them, much like you can the out-of-the-box filter. And then once people get really comfortable with filters, they're going to be flying through QuickBooks like no tomorrow. And then from our inventory, we can also print tags. That's really easy. All you have to do is highlight on the items. One of my favorite features that we like to show people is that you can also select limited items and select multiple items that really don't have anything to do with each other. And you do that by holding down the Control key and clicking on the items themselves. Just a sneak peek at some of the tips and tricks that we can show you. Besides that, I wanted to highlight the make a sale. So even if you are working meticulously in your inventory, we get a customer that comes up, we just have that make a sale button, and just like that, we are in inventory, and it's actually highlighted on that particular item and brought it over for me. If that's not what I wanted to do, I can very easily just hit that remove and start scanning. Jump back to my inventory list. All right, the other thing I wanted to go ahead and mention is we have the ability to enter items via a style grid. So this really helps people streamline that process of creating new items. I want to make sure we show you that today. I'm going to hit add. And there are a few items that are required. That's going to be our item name, department, and of course, if I were you, I might put it in a price. We're going to go ahead and start with that name. And again, I apologize, not very creative. We're going to go ahead and add a department. I'm going to just go ahead and pick a random department here. Oh, actually, no, we're going to go ahead and do something a little bit more realistic. Let's say we're wanting to build some shoes. The shoes come in multiple sizes and multiple colors, of course, they have to. And so what I can do is set up a base price. So let's go ahead and say that this is going to be a $25 item. And I wanted to, let's go ahead and just put my casual wear girls, the girl shoe that we're going to go ahead and create today. And so with just this basic information, I can go ahead and jump into my style and save these basic changes and continue. And so with this, I can choose and create style templates to help me streamline the process even more. So I do already have a template set up. I'm going to show you guys my shoes template. So you can see here I have size 8, black, blue, gray, white. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to carry this item in size 8. in those three colors, size 8.5, size 9. All right, we're going to go ahead and save that. And there we go. It's created all of those items for me. I really only created the first one, and the rest of these were built in a matter of seconds. So it can really be a game changer for our receiving employees. We definitely want to go ahead and make sure that everyone is comfortable on how to use it, and they understand what that style means. And so that style is essentially just those items that share the same name, description, department, and vendor usually, and they differ by just that attribute or that size. You don't necessarily have to differ by both. But that's just a way that we can go ahead and really get this, or get our inventory under control. And so that we built those new items within our inventory list. And that's where I would say most people are going to build their new items. But of course, there are some people that don't know that what they're going to, that they don't build those items directly in their item list. What they actually do is they build it on a purchase order or a PO. And I wanted to go ahead and jump right into our POs to show you that. So we have our items built, we have our departments and our vendors already set. Next is actually ordering these items and getting them into our inventory. So a purchase order is what we refer to as a planning document. It does not actually affect your inventory. That's going to come a little bit later on down the line with a voucher. But it does give us access to a lot more reporting opportunities. We can actually see what is on order and what's coming on down the line. For a purchase order, all we really need is a vendor. So let's just go ahead and pick a vendor here. And we can go ahead and start entering our items. We can scan our items in. We can search for our items. I can even use a little drop down and start getting a little sneak peek of my inventory. So let's just say I'm going to go ahead and order this item here. So with this item, you can see we have pictures assigned to our items as well. So I wanted to go ahead and have an order quantity. There it is, my order quantity of 5 for this particular item. So I have an existing item on our screen. In addition to this existing item, I'm going to go ahead and hit my Add New. And I want to add a new item directly from within my PO. It's something that you can completely do, and our buyers really love to go ahead and have that leeway. They don't have to jump out of the PO in order to go ahead and build the item in the inventory. They don't have to have everything already set. They can just show up, start entering their order, and then when they realize, oh, this item doesn't exist in my inventory, they can just build it right there on the fly. And we still have access to that style here. So we can open up the grid here as well. One other thing that I didn't mention while we were in the inventory is that we also have a base unit of measure. What that means is that we can actually purchase items in one unit of measure and sell it in another. One of the easiest examples of that is like a case of soda. So we're going to purchase it in a pack of 12, but we're selling them individually. And we need to be able to go ahead and QuickBooks can keep that in order. So when we have it on a purchase order, it knows to use that case quantity. And when we're selling it, it knows that it means that individual unit, and we'll charge those individual prices. All right, and you see we have access to our reorder point as well here. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of there. I'm actually going to pull up one of our existing POs here. So let's go ahead and open one of these up. So you can see we have our items listed, and they don't have to have a picture on them, but if they do, it does help our receiving department just a little bit more. In addition to that, we can add additional instructions to the POs, terms, really anything that we know in advance that can help streamline the process of receiving. So that would include any discounts or fee information. So if I go ahead and cancel out of here, actually, and we're going to discard these changes. And I'm going to go ahead and be able to see all of my POs here in my PO list. And this is automatically looking at my open purchase orders. And so this defaults to your open purchase orders as a way to kind of keep things clean and keep things in order. But you can absolutely open it up and see all of your past and closed purchase orders. So I'm actually glad I did that. We're going to go ahead and build a purchase order that we can receive against today. So let's go ahead and say our Astro World, and I'm going to just pull one of our Astro World items. There we go. And again, let's say that we're going to order a quantity of 10 for this particular item. And I'm also going to go ahead and say, I know that I'm going to get a fee. I want them to ship it early, and then they're going to charge me a little bit extra. So we're going to go ahead and add that $10 fee in now. All right, perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to save only, but you can save and print. Another option is our email. So you can directly email your purchase order to your vendors. I'm going to go ahead and save this one right now. All right, and so the next part of that, it's been a few days, is to actually voucher those items in. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into my receiving vouchers. And it looks very familiar to our inventory screen, or excuse me, our POS screen. So we can directly start scanning items into our voucher. But really what I want to do is reference from a PO, because I already did the hard work earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and receive from a PO. I can decide what PO I'm looking for. And actually, it's a little bit faster if I enter my vendor name first. And I believe that was Astroworld. And there we go. We get that pop-up. An open purchase order exists for this vendor. You want to use it. And if we've done a good job in keeping our inventory and our purchase orders nice and clean and meticulous, I can trust that this is the one I'm looking for. And of course, if it's not the one I'm looking for, I can always cancel out of it and grab the one I need. I'm going to go ahead and say yes here. And so here we go. This is the one I was looking for. And I have the options to receive all due or select items to receive. Maybe this vendor is actually notorious for not giving us our full shipment all in one go. So I'm going to go ahead and select items to receive. It'll show me a list of all the items. It'll show me what is due to me, how many we've already received, and what my dot quantity is. So dot quantity is going to refer to the document that you're currently on. In this case, a voucher. So that would be our order quantity or our voucher quantity. So we're going to go ahead and select all. And I'm going to go ahead and continue. All right, and here we go. We get that pop-up. Would you like to apply the fee from our purchase order? And I'm going to say yes. All right, so we've gotten to this point, and maybe I realized I made a little bit of a mistake. We actually didn't get the full 10. I only got 9. So I can make that edit right here before I save the PO, or excuse me, before I save the voucher. If there's been an update in cost, I can also edit that here before I actually update the voucher. Now, I can add additional discount, fee, and freight information here. So I do have my fee already set up. So maybe in addition to that, I got charged my normal freight as well. Unfortunate. There we go. And now I have the option to choose whether to spread this information. So some people do like to go ahead and spread that information and have it absorb, have the items absorb that cost. Some people like to go ahead and keep it all completely separate so we can report on it. It's entirely up to you, and we can go ahead and train you on how to do both. All right, perfect. But you see, it was that easy to go ahead and receive this information because we did put the legwork in on the PO a little bit earlier. But even then, that was pretty easy to go ahead and handle. QuickBooks does try to go ahead and streamline the process as much as possible. So from here, if I'm happy with this, I can go ahead and save only, save and print. Of course, if I get busy, I can put this on hold and help my customers or my employees out. If you are in a multi-store environment, we can go ahead and change the stores. We can also print tags directly from this screen. So no need to go back into your inventory. The items are being received. They're already right here. We can just print tags, slap those tags on them, and get them ready on the floor as soon as possible. In addition to the items on the PO, of course, I can just build in a few more. So let's say in addition to this one, maybe they didn't give us the full 10 for the small, but they did send us over a medium, and I'm willing to accept that for right now. So we're going to go ahead and keep it. And now I'm going to go ahead and save only. And there we go. And it drops us into a regular blank voucher, ready to receive that next shipment. So I'm actually going to go ahead and from here, jump back to my home screen. And now I'm going to jump into my receiving history. This is my former vouchers. And there we go, right here on the bottom, you can see the one that we just created. So QuickBooks makes it really easy to do corrections as well. So if we did have to go ahead and reverse this, it creates a sister record for it, and we can go ahead and copy the original and kind of move forward with those corrections. All very, very simple to do. And of course, we can go ahead and access all of the reports that we need directly from the click of a button. And this drops you into our sales reports. We close that when we talk about reports in just a moment. Okay. And so now that we've talked a little bit about our departments, a little bit about our vendors, purchasing and receiving, we've gotten to kind of the bread and butter of our business here, our make a sale. And so this is our point of sale can go ahead and click that and take you on a little tour. And so here we can go ahead and access our quick pick items. So actually, I forgot to mention that while we were in our inventory, but our quick pick items are going to be essentially items that they could be really hard to tag. So they might not have barcodes, and we want to make it as easy as possible for our associates to quickly ring people up. So we want to avoid them having to search for these items. So we can go ahead and like our kayaks and canoes, a little hard to barcode, but with a few clicks, you can get that on our screen relatively quickly. Besides that, we can go ahead and also put things that are at our point of sale, maybe some chapstick or postcards, things that kind of up our average ticket dollar and be really, really easy for our associates to just add to the screen last minute. We can go ahead and add groups via the point of sale and build them pretty easily. We can add groups, we can add items to groups via the inventory or right here from point of sale as well. So again, you can wear multiple hats at the exact same time, especially now people are wearing, as many hats as they possibly can. So in addition to that, I can go ahead and add a customer. So before I move on, I have the option of either docking this here or just hiding it after. I can add a customer to this receipt. I go ahead and add my friend here, Jimmy Garcia. So look at that. Our customer is assigned a 5% discount. I did that because I wanted you guys to see there's a lot that we can do with customers. If you have or want to be able to track customers, QuickBooks really is something that you want to look at. We can track customer price levels, customer discounts, store credit. I'm going to show you guys the rewards program in a little bit. It is, like I said in the beginning, very robust and very easy to use. But I'm going to go ahead and say yes, we're going to apply that 5% discount. This man's buying a kayak, so we want to give him a little help with that. In addition to that, you see that 5% discount on our original price is listed directly underneath the item. We can see that information on Jimmy Garcia right up over here. And we can see that he actually does have some available credit and he actually owes a little bit as well. So it gives you a bird's eye view on this customer without you having to jump into that customer record, again, all in one screen. In addition to that, we have a few different pricing options. So you can either give what is called a line item discount or a discount on our entire receipt. And we have that choose a quick discount. So again, as quickly as possible, we can go ahead and get our sale done with and our customer out of the door. I talk a little bit much, so it's a little slower than average, but all right, so in addition with that, I can go ahead and choose that line item discount. And the nice thing about the line item discount is that it allows our associates to go ahead and put in a discount name or reason. And that is going to, once again, give you a lot of reporting capabilities. You can report for sales that use the code coupon or use the code defect or damage. You want to make sure that our vendors aren't sending us damaged items. You can cancel out of here. So then I can go ahead and also from this screen, I can go ahead and change my cashier or associate. So this is a little bit more important for our users that might be working more on commission. Our cashier might be, the person who's actually handling the cash, but our associate might be the person who helped Jimmy here and convinced him to purchase this kayak. You can see it's via a drop-down menu, so all of the employees that you create are going to be available from this list. So we can go ahead and cancel out of this. And so I'm just going to complete this transaction. I'm going to say that we paid in cash, all in cash, just because I want to show you this here. So we have the options, especially helpful for touch screen environments, where people can just go ahead and click our denominations here. Of course, you can go ahead and add that exact amount or hit that next dollar if it just so happened that this individual had $1,086 on them. So I can also do a split tender very, very easily. Let's just say that they had, there we go. They had $500 on them, maybe a little bit more believable. And then the rest I want to do in a check. And there we go. So we have that check amount. I just need to put in that check number. And we're going to hit save. And just like that, we've completed a split tender. And again, this is version 19, so I can go ahead and save and email that directly and save a tree. Of course, I can always save and print. That way he is sure to have his receipt for that kayak. We can put this on hold if perhaps he wants to go ahead and okay it with somebody first. We can go ahead and put that on hold, help out other customers. And then whenever he's ready, we can come over here to our held receipts. We can also get held receipts from our point of sale here. And here we go. I can find that using his name. Of course, if he didn't give us a name, then maybe we need to go ahead and take a look at the items themselves. But ultimately, I know this is the one. I'm going to go ahead and hit unhold. And there we go. Now I can save. We'll save an email, print, and save. So I'm going to go ahead and just save only for right now. And you can see this customer has actually earned a little bit of a reward. It gives us the opportunity to let them know, get them excited about coming back. All right, so that was a brief introduction to our Make a Sale. Again, when you're partnered with your trainer, they're going to go through a lot more, and they're going to make sure that you can do everything that you need to do at point of sale. So that kind of brings me to our next point for customers. So I'm going to jump into my customer list here. And so QuickBooks integrates with a lot of our online and email platforms really easily. Part of it is because you can go ahead and extract your data and again be in control of your data. The other part of it is over here under customers. It's actually built into the system. We can actually create an email campaign for our customers. Choose what kind of email. We can even email them a coupon, really get them excited about coming back in. Maybe especially people who have a reward or who have earned a reward using our rewards program. But this does integrate with Constant Contact. And if we go ahead and let's just go ahead and make our way through here. I'm not going to go ahead and set one up entirely. But here we go. And it also, if you wanted to set one up, through QuickBooks, it offers you a free 60-day trial of Constant Contact. So keep that in mind if you're interested in any kind of integration with Constant Contact. But essentially, it's as easy as entering your login and your password and hitting continue. Cancel out of this for right now. All right, and again, as you can see, we have all of their emails. This would be perfect for Constant Contact, MailChimp, any of those email campaign areas. And remember, I talked a little bit about those coupons. You can build your own coupons. You can even build coupons to print on your receipts. And they don't have to print on every receipt. You can actually have all that control and say, I want this to print on every 100 receipts, or I only want it to print on receipts where a customer spends over $100. And so that is a lot of fun for a lot of people getting to decide what promotions are being run. And so over here from our customer list, we can also access more reports. I want to button. We can again edit, copy, and one of my favorites, merge. You can actually do this in your item list as well. If we realize accidentally we've created 2 items, we can merge those 2 items together, and that would merge their sales history and kind of fix our reporting for us. Over here, same idea. If we accidentally have a misspelling, maybe we spelled Tony with an I instead of a Y, and we accidentally created 2 Tonys, both of which have store credit on them, what are we going to do? All we have to do is merge. From here, we can again make a sale, accept a return or exchange, or make a customer order. So a customer order in QuickBooks is, again, really easy to use. A sales order, work order, and layaways all also allow you to hold deposits on those items. And so we can even enforce a minimum deposit. So if we're going to go ahead and put an item on layaway, if we're going to go ahead and hold it for you, nobody else can buy it. Maybe I need a little bit of good faith money, and maybe it's only 15%. So you put 15% down, you come back in a week when you're ready to pay for the rest of the item, and then we can officially make that sale. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let me actually go ahead and find our friend Jimmy here. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and show my details. And here you can see there's a 1-star rating. He's up and coming customer, but you can see he's actually gotten quite a few rewards so far. He's a good member of our rewards program here. We have a customer ID, and here's where that discount lives. We also have the ability to accept checks or choose not to accept checks from specific individuals. That's really nothing that our point of sale users have to know or really understand. We'll just uncheck that from there, and then they won't be allowed to go ahead and receive checks from that individual. And over here, of course, whether it's okay to email them. Hopefully, if they've given us their email, it is okay to email them. But I'm going to go ahead and close out of here and take this opportunity to jump into that reward manager. So this is something that is completely optional. You can choose to turn it on and turn it off. You can track customers and not actually have a rewards program. That's totally fine. It's just some extra icing on the cake that QuickBooks wants to give you. And so we can go ahead and set up our reward here. You see I have a pretty standard reward. So my threshold is $200, but then you get $10 off. And I did set up an expiration date for these rewards. So it is one of those, you lose it or you use it, excuse me, or you lose it. But it is optional. You can go ahead and just leave them with no end date. And that's about it. So we can go ahead and edit this, so we can go ahead and even make sure that we can't redeem those rewards until after our return window has passed. So that is something that QuickBooks heard it was a concern, and they addressed it by adding this block reward redemption. I'm going to go ahead and close that for now. All right, and next we're going to go ahead, excuse me. All right, so next I'm going to talk a little bit about reporting. And to ease us into it, I'm going to go ahead and talk first about our end of day. So the end of day is really, really easy. We try to make it as straightforward as possible. There's two ways you can actually close the drawer for the end of the day. We can do a drawer count, which we would have to actually reconcile the money in our till, or we can go ahead and do a drawer or store close. And that essentially does not give you the opportunity to put any monetary counts in. It just closes the drawer. For this example, I'm going to go ahead and show you that drawer count, and we're counting our drawer for today. We do have the option of also backing up your company data. And then, of course, if we are a multi-store environment, sending data to our remote stores / sending data up to our main. So I'm going to go ahead and start here. And so here we go. We enter our leave amount. And if we did have a leave amount entered for the night before, that would actually be our default begin amount for today. But let's just say I know that my begin amount was about $100. In my count, I'm going to use my media count window here, and I'm just going to enter the physical count of these bills. There is absolutely no need to do math when we have a beautiful point of sale software that was going to do it for us. All right, so let's get a few nominations in there. All right, we're going to go ahead and say OK here. I can add any remarks. So if I know something weird happened, something interesting happened, maybe I'll go ahead and put it in there and try to give people down the line a little bit of a heads up. Maybe we accidentally took a transaction as cash and they decided, actually, I want to do it as credit card. And unfortunately, our point of sale user just wasn't quite sure on how to correct her mistake. But she had to go ahead and leave for the end of the day. Of course, things happen. We can enter that here. Say OK. And you can see I'm actually a little bit over. So if I hit no, it will give me the opportunity to recount. If I hit yes, it's just going to accept that overage, and we're going to move forward. I'm actually going to go ahead and say no because I realized I forgot to put in a leave amount. So I will be putting in that $100. That's how much change that is supposed to be in the register always. I'm going to go ahead and say there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and say yes. And here it gives us the option to decide whether we're going to print out of a 40-column receipt printer or a letter printer. So a lot of our point of sale users, they might only be connected to a letter printer, so we have that format ready for you. For today, I'm going to go ahead and show us the letter. The exact same report, just formatted a little bit differently. I just like the letter. I think it's a little bit easier to read. But you can see we have a breakdown of our sales, our returns. If we had any, we would show all of our SO deposits and that tax breakdown as well. And of course, our media count down here. This media count has been a lifesaver for a lot of people. Perhaps, by the time we get to the bank tells us that we only had 4 bills in there. And here we can see I accidentally entered 5. Maybe that has to do with our overage. So I can go ahead and close this. And, I could print it, submit it, but that's the basic end of day report, our Z out for the end of day. And now if I click on reports, if I click that view drawer count history, I can see that history of all the times I've closed my drawer. Close for right now. All right, and now that we've eased into reports, I'm going to go ahead and take us to our dashboard. So dashboard is very customizable, and it's where all of our memorized or slightly edited and then memorized reports live. And so you can see we have, at a glance, some access into some graphs that show us a little bit about what's going on with our department. And so all of these reports I can modify, I can edit. Anywhere where you see that Z inside the magnifying glass is somewhere where you can drill down further, and I can continue to drill down until I open up the actual document that this was on. Close that there. You can see here's the sales detail. There's my item summary. And if I go back to my, if I go back to my dashboard, this is where I started, that department sales summary. And like I said, this is very customizable. If you guys have seen QuickBooks before and someone wasn't really utilizing their dashboard, you make sure you let them know that this is going to be this can be really, really handy and help streamline a lot of their reporting. We're going to go ahead and close this. If I go ahead and jump into reports again, I want you to notice that we have all of our sales, cash drawer, memorized reports, employees, all the different report types listed right directly there under that reports tab. And if we highlight or hover over any of them, it's going to go ahead and break out all of those sales reports as well. So you don't necessarily need to go all the way into the report center to have access to all of the reports. But that's what we're going to do today. We're going to jump into our report center. And right off the bat, it drops you into the overview. As you can see, we have an option to create a report. And so you can create your reports, but I'm going to be honest, chances are the report that you need already exists and might just need some minor tweaking. So I'm going to go ahead and show you under all reports, all of the different available reports that we have. So right off the bat, it's broken down into my sales reports. So I can go ahead and scroll down and see it's broken out even further into my taxes reports, my multi-store reports, so I can see how my individual stores are doing, shipping information. I come up over here, I can see my graphs. So these are my demographic graphs. And if I go ahead and highlight over them, you can see a sample of what they would look like. All right, one of my favorite to run is going to be my best worst sellers. So I could run that, and I can actually see, for this particular item here, I'm making a negative margin on that one, so I need to address that pricing. You see, it's really easy to see and really easy to catch things like that, things that might have been a little bit of a mistake. And of course, I can export this to Excel. Anywhere where you see a little blue dot is something that is sortable. So we can sort by description 1, sort by our item name, and then that little arrow speaks to whether it's ascending or descending. With all of these reports, you can modify the reports. When we modify them, we can choose to add or remove columns. So this is what I mean by the chances are the report you need already exists, and we just need to tweak it a little bit. So perhaps I also needed to see my UPC and my department code. Once I select it, I can go ahead and hit save. I can choose to go ahead and add more. I can filter the data and filter for, let's take a look. I'm filtering currently for my sales and return and my e-commerce sales and return, so my web sales and return as well. Maybe I only want to look at my e-commerce for the moment, so I'm going to go ahead and just say e-commerce, or vice versa. I only want to go ahead and look at my physical sales, the sales in my brick and mortar store. So we're going to go ahead and say okay there. I'm going to save this. I'm going to let it rerun, and there we go. It's been rerun, and so it looks like I don't have UPCs for these particular items, but I do have those department codes, and I can sort by those department codes. And now I'm using this report. I decide I want to keep this report. I like having my department codes and UPCs. And I do want to see only my brick and mortar store for right now. So once I've modified a report, I can use the I want to button, and I can memorize this particular report. So best and worst sellers, no web. Let me go ahead and remove the sellers. Save some space there. There we go. And I'm going to hit OK. All right. And so now I can go ahead and actually close my report. And under reports, under memorized reports, I can see that right there. I can grab it very easily at any time. I have a few other memorized reports. There are a few reports that QuickBooks gives you right out of the box that are memorized. It's going to be our busy time, best worst sellers, and then today's receipts is another one. And those are just reports that people run constantly. Jumping back into my report center, all reports. All right, taking a look at maybe one of my item reports. Another really, really popular report that I really enjoy is my inventory valuation. At any moment, you can click this and get a breakdown of what's going on with your inventory, exactly how much it's worth, and what you've paid for so far. Especially our accounting people, our accountants really love to see this kind of report. And again, I can go ahead and modify for this report. If I don't like how it's subgrouping, I can apply it for a specific date range or a different day, apply filters for only specific departments. I might not do it to this type of reports because I want to be looking at my full inventory, but it is really easy to do. I also have my employee reports. So again, if I'm running commissions, I can go ahead and run that commissions report. I can accept tips through QuickBooks as well, and we can go ahead and see the details or a summary on those tips. I can check out time clocks. QuickBooks, on top of being a point-of-sale software, also gives your users the opportunity to clock in and clock out, and gives you the chance to go ahead and see those check-ins and check-outs. You can also just get our employee list if we need to export that anywhere. Of course, our memorized reports are going to be right over here at the click of a button whenever we need it. Customers. So the customers, again, we're going to go ahead and be able to have access to those customer lists. Maybe we want that broken out by zip code if we wanted to go ahead and send out maybe coupons or postcards or anything. We have access to those order details as well. And one of my favorites are deposit detail. So do I have any open sales orders that have deposits, actual money attached to them that people haven't picked up yet or haven't closed? Let's figure out why that is, and let's get the rest of our money. Next, under there is going to be our rewards program. So we can see a list of all our members, and we can see a list of all of our rewards history. See there, our friend Jimmy again, getting a few rewards points in. They're still pending for right now, though. All right. In addition to that, we have, again, those cash flow reports. Payments are going to go ahead and be credit cards, debit cards, gift cards, all of that. We can also go ahead and have accounts so people can charge to their accounts, especially it's integrated with QuickBooks Financial. QuickBooks Point of Sale, of course, integrates with QuickBooks Financial seamlessly. The setup is extremely easy. And if you have any questions, again, we're here to go ahead and support you in both. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of here for right now. Oh, actually, before I finish up, jump in one more time. We did kind of go through let's check out our item summary, how to modify relatively quickly. So I just want to go ahead and mention that we can also, besides modifying what is displaying on the screen, we can modify how it's displaying on the screen. So we can go ahead and change our report appearance. We can go ahead and change that to landscape. We can make our font bigger. If we're exporting this or printing this to PDF and it's a little too small, we want to make sure that it's readable, of course. And again, we can export that to Excel and manipulate the data even further. Let me go ahead and cancel out of here. We can also set a report access level. So with QuickBooks, as you can see, I'd set up a few employees. We can actually assign those employees to security groups and really manage what they're allowed to and allowed or not allowed to do. We can even control what they can see in QuickBooks. So if we have some users that, maybe volunteers or maybe seasonal users that don't actually spend too much time with us, maybe we don't want them to see cost. And alternatively, we can be very free with our permissions. If I go ahead and cancel out of here and close out of here, you can see actually I don't have a way to sign in as another user so far. So all of my users currently on this system are signing in as sysadmin, the most powerful account in QuickBooks. It's a little bit of a more tighter knit group, smaller group perhaps, or just a group where everybody wears a lot of hats again. But we do have that employee list down over here. We can create a new employee really easily. All we have to make sure that we give them is that employee name. We can set up that first and last name too. Here's where we assign them to a security group. Maybe they're going to be part-time users. We can create as many security groups as you need as well. So if we have some point-of-sale users that are allowed to do some things, but other point-of-sale users that, they need to be with us a little bit longer before we give them those keys. So we can go ahead and split our POS group into two and label them whatever makes the most sense for our business. Of course, we can add our commission, whether they're hourly, and then if we do have users sign in, we can go ahead and create their password for them or have them create their own password. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of here for right now. Discard these changes. Again, I want to. I can go ahead and view and edit my security rights. So I just wanted to take a brief moment to show you just how many security rights there are. You can really control what people can and cannot do. Really give yourself that peace of mind and finally let yourself take that vacation maybe. Go ahead and close that. Close this. All right. And so again, I wanted to go ahead and take a moment to remind you of our sticky notes over here. And so these sticky notes are really convenient for letting your associates know, anything that maybe you didn't get a chance to tell them. Maybe they're going to show up to open before you get a chance to see them, but you need them to get X, Y, and Z done. So we can go ahead and utilize our sticky notes. Of course, you can see up here we have our Big Hairy Dog tech support number and our tech support email on the line. We always recommend putting that on at least one of the sticky notes, so that way your point-of-sale users always know who they can call when they need some help. And remember that when you give us a call, you're going to go ahead and get that live person. And one of the greatest things about Big Hairy Dog is that we do not want you to ever lose out on a sale. So if you give us a call and let us know that you could not complete a sales transaction, we're going to find someone to help you right then and there. And so, you don't have to navigate the waters of any voicemails or trying to go ahead and find an operator and then finally realize that you've been sent to the wrong department. We understand how frustrating that can be, and we want to make sure that in case of an emergency, you know that you can go ahead and reach out to us. The other thing I wanted to go ahead and show you, one of my favorite things, is our inventory reminders. So this is going to show up only if you have inventory reminders, but we can go to these reminders and it'll show you items that need to be reordered, items that have had price changes, duplicate items. So if there was a mistake in creating these items and QuickBooks has realized it, it will highlight them for you and you have that opportunity to merge these items. New items that we created can be over here, and we can decide maybe I do need to still assign pictures to all of these. I also have the opportunity to clear them. Over here, fill customer orders. Again, if we have our customers who are waiting for an order to be filled and maybe the shipment finally came in and we have enough to fill those orders, they'll be displayed here. All right. And so that's about it for my presentation for today. I know that we went through a lot and it was relatively quick. So if you have any questions at all about QuickBooks or about Big Hairy Dog, please feel free to reach out to us at 800-377-7776. And our QuickBooks representative, her name is Joanne Evans, but any member of our sales team would be more than happy to go ahead and help you out and make sure that you get all the questions answered that you need. And my name is Liz with Big Hairy Dog, and I am one of the trainers here over on the tech side. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to email me at lizm@BigHairyDog. That's M as in Massachusetts. But that will complete our sales demo for today. And thank you so much for joining me.